Yay.
Okay, we are live. I see the other post in the group still posting, and the post is live. So now it should work.
So I got to join the chat.
Yeah, I hope they'll join the chat.
Yeah, I got to join it. It's asking me to. Who do I want to join as?
I'm getting major light here from the. I might actually turn this one off.
It might be because my whole background, I need to like darken my room or something.
This doesn't work.
No, you look like you're a ghost now.
Yeah, it's because the prompter is kind of like lighting me up.
Oh, the prompter is there. Gotcha.
Okay.
All right. And you can hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. Can you hear me good?
Yep. Fantastic.
All right. So let's see on YouTube. When I now go to my channel. Oh, yeah. It's still unlisted. So anyone joining, it's still unlisted. But as far as I can see, no one joined yet.
Yeah.
I mean, it took like 40 minutes past the time that we wanted to set this up because Facebook just abysmally failed.
Perseverance. That's all it takes. Anybody that watches now really wants to learn something new.
Everyone who's going to come on now, yeah. I mean, if I go to the group and click that link. All right, I see us.
Test it. Yeah, you can test it. Yeah. Is it working?
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to stop my YouTube because I don't want to see myself double. And so this is the thing. Facebook has this where they do not want to the algorithm kind of like knocks down things they don't want to promote. Let's see if I can partially cover this. Make it a little less bright. Yeah, this is a little less bright. I can still see you. And I'm going to cover this. Awesome. Better lighting. Facebook is doesn't like external links.
Right.
So what they will do is throttle down the exposure, because when I reload my page right now, it still has a 0 post reach. No one's seeing the post, even though I tagged everyone. No one's seeing the post.
No one is seeing
the link I just posted in the group.
That doesn't make any sense. Did you tag everyone?
Yep.
Huh.
I know, right?
That's interesting. What if you put it in the event? What if you put it in the event, in the comments in the event, and say, here's where you can find the live.
Okay. Fun time on a Friday night. Okay.
And if that doesn't work, we can just schedule it for another time. I'm flexible.
Yep. I just put it in the. Let's see. How frustrating. I mean, I get that Facebook wants to keep people on their page, but then they have to do it in a way that it works.
Yeah, and you have to make the stuff that you want. I mean, we tried to do it on Facebook.
We did. We tried to do it just in one group.
Yeah.
I'm in the Power Admin group, actually. So Facebook runs a group, Power Admins Global, and they have, I think, one for South America, one for UK. They have a few. They just closed the one in Germany, or for the German speaking countries. Anyways, so that's run by Facebook, and important admins are in that group. And I just said, like, as a Friday brag, I'm going to do my first Facebook Live. And then they said, okay, tell us all about it. So this is what I do.
Yeah. Yeah, you could say now it's a learning story. It's a story of learning and making adjustments, being flexible.
Yeah. Because, oh, now we have 2 viewers. Awesome, awesome.
Hey.
And that's not us. It's can you imagine like what I posted this post about this live
Yeah.
5 minutes ago, and there's a 0 post reach. There's no like, no comment, 0 post reach.
Maybe everybody just gave up and they're not looking at their Facebook right now.
No. If I tag everyone, this should not happen. This is going to be a screenshot that I'm going to post in the Power Admin group. How about that?
There you go.
All right. The 2 viewers we have right now, say something in the comments
up?
so we know we are
What's
real.
up, people?
What's up?
So, okay. So let's do this. So, let's see. I got time. I got plenty of time. Because we're technically 45 minutes into this, even though we haven't even started yet.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's okay. There was a conversation that was going on in the group. What was that all about? That was somebody was asking about, does muscle help with insulin resistance or something?
It was insulin resistance. So, I think there's like a common misconception when you think I want to lose weight. Most people don't even think about insulin resistance. But once they get to that point where they think about, okay, insulin plays a role. Insulin is a fat storage hormone, and maybe I need to reduce my insulin resistance. And then there's this other misconception that we can outrun a bad diet. We can just move more and eat less, and that way lose weight. But when we actually start doing resistance training, the muscle, being an organ, does not only move the skeletal, it also is a good storage for glycogen, which is like a form of sugar or the form of stored sugar in the body. Yeah, that was the discussion. So you, Coach Bronson, I mean, your fitness is like excellent. Like I'm nowhere. I'm probably never going to get there. But anyway, what's your take on that?
So yeah, it definitely. I like to look at insulin resistance as a component of or a symptom of general metabolic dysfunction. So it's just one of the things. Now, granted, it is probably the most common thing that results, like many of the things that we have that cause metabolic dysfunction will manifest through some form of insulin resistance. So that's kind of how insulin resistance in many ways is the number one way you can tell if you have metabolic dysfunction in a lot of things. There's a lot of things that it goes to. Excess insulin in the body is not a good thing. Inflammation and all the different side effects that causes. When I talk about metabolic dysfunction, one of the first things on my list of how can we improve how our metabolism works is build more muscle mass.
Right.
Muscle mass drives metabolic function. And what I mean by metabolic function is muscle is the organ that brings all of the other things that we're doing together. It is our buffer against stress. It is the source of our requirement for most of our energy needs. There's all of the different things that come at us, whether it's things we're doing intentionally, like eating food or moving, or whether it's things we're not doing intentionally, the things that our environment is doing to us. Muscle kind of stands in between all of that. And I don't think muscle gets nearly the credit it deserves for all of the things that it does. And we don't have time to get into all of that. If anybody hasn't heard of or isn't following Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, go follow her. She talks about it all the time, muscle-centric medicine. She's got a great book that just came out a couple months ago. Tons of information in there. But when we talk about insulin resistance specifically, there's a couple reasons why building muscle is very, very important. When we talk about how do we improve reduce our body's need for insulin, Well, okay, we stop eating carbs. That's great. Fantastic.
Mhm.
Awesome sauce. That's one way to start doing it. Now, even in that case, how do we improve? This is something that I don't think a lot of people understand when it comes to systems. The way we improve how a system works is by making it work more, right? So a
Mhm.
lot of people, they start off with the nutrition. Okay, I'm reducing my carb intake. Fantastic. But you're still not making your insulin do what it needs to do when it needs to do it. And it's like a passive fix where when we exercise, we're forcing our body to get better by making it do things under more intensity. So that's an active fix. And that's where the power of doing both together at the same time. So let me, if I can explain this. So when we stop eating carbs, we drop our sugar, we have less of a need for insulin. We're not trying to push all this stuff. We lower our insulin. We don't have the spikes. We're not elevated all the time. That's fantastic. But that's removing a stressor to the insulin system. That's overworking it. What it's not doing, it's not improving our signaling and the reactive response to insulin to how our body is functioning. That's only focusing on one stimulus, food intake. But if we can approach it from the exercise side and we can say, hey, insulin, I also need you to work when I'm activating muscle protein synthesis to help me store amino acids in my muscles. I also need you to work in managing the elevated blood glucose that I get from exercise as my body breaks down fatty acids and other
Oh, wait.
materials to make sugar.
You just said store amino acid in the muscles. I thought the body can't really store protein.
So it doesn't store it as amino acids, it stores it as muscle, but it's got to get there
All
somehow,
right. Yeah, that's right. I
right?
just read.
So
Okay.
yeah. So that's one of the other misconceptions. And I don't know if it's a misconception. I think it's just we say insulin is the storage hormone for fat all the time. What we
Mhm.
tend to forget is it also stores a bunch of other things, right? It's like I'm going to open the
Like
door
glycogen.
for all of these other things to come in, which includes fat. It includes fatty acids. It includes amino acids. It includes a bunch of different things. So there's a lot of things that insulin does. It's not just the fat storage hormone, right? Which is why when we talk about being on a ketogenic diet, making sure that you're getting an insulin response from the fat and protein that you're eating so that you can store and utilize the fatty acids and the amino acids you're getting from the food appropriately, right? So it's, which is also why I say all the time that, the ketogenic diet isn't about ketosis. We would die without insulin. So it's not about not activating insulin. It's about activating insulin appropriately and in the adequate times, the adequate amounts, and when you need it and how you need it to work. So that's one of the reasons why exercise is such a good thing, because it helps manage the signaling and the appropriate utilization of insulin when food isn't enough by itself, if
And
that
I
makes sense.
know someone, I'm not going to name him, that stopped eating carnivore because they were unable to activate insulin.
Yeah.
Where then Barkay said, well, he should have just eaten a little more protein to like
Yeah.
give that
Yeah.
insulin a little bump.
Yeah.
And
It's
instead,
it's
now he's
interesting
eating fruit
because
and honey.
yeah, I talk about this a lot. I don't know if I talk about it enough. The whole idea of metabolic flexibility and carb cycling. We cannot just the logic doesn't exist. We can't say carbs are not essential, but you need them sometimes if you're on a carnivore diet. That just I don't that makes absolutely no sense at all.
No, you
So
can't have it both ways.
you can't have it both ways. It's one or the other. If you want to eat carbs, go eat some carbs. I'm not going to hold it against you, but don't try to make up
Yeah.
some weird scientific reason why you have to justify doing what you decided to do. It just doesn't
And
make
don't
sense to me.
use that reason to drink the juice of an entire watermelon every day. Like, can you
Right.
imagine?
Like there's no reason for that. But here's the thing. It can, and this is such a nuanced, the whole carb thing, is carb cycling, metabolic flexibility is such a nuanced thing because there's the challenge of, if you're doing carnivore wrong, and I hesitate to say that because wrong, I don't know if that's the right word. If you're not doing the carnivore, if you're not following what you're defining as a carnivore diet to a point where it's not working for you, then your definition is probably wrong. You need to redefine what carnivore means to you. And sometimes for some people, they say, well, I was doing this thing way over here, so in order for me to redefine what I'm doing, I have to now come to this thing way over here.
Yep.
Instead of, hey, maybe there's something in the middle. Maybe there was just a tweak you needed to make, like maybe have a little more fat. Stop eating lean meat all the time. Stop the chicken and start eating some steak. Stop eating all the fish and the sardines all the time and start eating some lamb, right? Or throw some butter in there with your eggs. Don't eat egg whites for half of your meal. The fascination that everybody has with everything made from egg whites, that's great, but there's no nutrition. You're not getting, when everything you eat is made out of egg whites, you're getting protein, you're not getting micronutrition, and
But
you're
the fun
starving
thing
yourself to death.
also is that there's a lot of protein in egg white, but there's just as much or just a little tiny bit less protein in egg yolks. Egg yolks is not just fat and vitamins, it's also protein. It's full of protein.
Yes,
And it actually completes the protein of the egg whites. So if we eat
it
the
does.
entire egg. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where all the nutrients are. There's no nutrition in egg whites. If you want to
Right.
get the benefit of an egg, you have to eat the yolk.
Yes.
And this fascination with it's all about protein. And that's where the whole carb thing comes into play, because when someone's making this adjustment and they go, well, I was doing carnivore, it didn't work, so I'm going to make a change. Obviously, I need some carbs. So then they start doing carbs, as opposed to trying to understand, well, if carbs are not essential and I can do carnivore without carbs, and there's people that have been doing carnivore for years who do not regularly take in carbs and they're fine. What is different about either how I'm doing it or what I'm trying to do? There's something that I can tweak. What is it? 99% of the time, they're not eating enough. They
Fat.
are not combining their fat and protein adequately per meal.
Yep.
Those are the two biggest things that I see. Or they're doing OMAD. They're trying to fit everything into one meal a day, which I think is one of the OMAD to me, for 99% of the population, it shouldn't be a way of living. I can see it as a temporary tool to shake things up and make some short-term adjustments, but I don't think OMAD is
Yeah. Do a little
really how we
reset.
should be. Yeah.
But I
Hmm?
also think it's not just that it's not for most people, but it's especially not for most women who need to produce hormones that everything works right.
Mm-hmm.
In before menopause or before perimenopause, in perimenopause, in menopause, and post-menopause, they need 2 meals on a regular basis.
At least.
OMAD,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And
Well, 2
sometimes
meals
more.
is fine
And
because most people need to check with glucose and stuff. I
mhm.
couldn't eat 3 meals. If I ate 3 meals, I would be back on insulin, even if I ate ketogenic.
Oh, I'd love to get into that sometime. I want to hear about this, but that's for another chat. We got to talk about that. I'm very interested. Um,
Yeah, we do that.
and
I just
and I
see in the chat, Paola's there, Coach Paola
Hey,
from
Paola. I'd love to get into that sometime. I think that's one of those things where focusing on building some muscle, and I don't know what your exercise plan is. I don't know if you're doing any fitness or anything like that, but focusing on building muscle. Muscle is that thing that helps balance everything out. So when we have everything based on just what we're eating, we only have one thing that we can affect. When we add in exercise, we now give a balance, and they like check and balance each other. So when there's something going on where nutrition may not be a factor in that mechanism of managing things, your muscle and your fitness will take over and work in that case to kind of keep things in check. So the
Okay,
two
so
of
here's
them
a
really work
post,
well together.
something I read today. Was it today? Yes, today on Facebook. I'm adding a lot of protein because I want to build muscle.
Mhm.
And I had a response, but what would your response be?
So short-term initial response, if you've been under eating protein, you may see an initial growth in increase in lean mass. It will be short term. It won't be a lot. But until you start stimulating muscle and exercising, then you're wasting the protein. It's not doing anything good. It's not really.
Yeah, that's what I said. Because it doesn't help if you eat a lot of protein. If you're not doing resistance training to build that muscle, that protein will just be turned into glucose, and it's not helping any. I mean, yes, okay, short term, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's really, there's short term, initial muscle protein synthesis will respond to protein intake. And particularly if you're under eating, okay. But remember, there's a lot of things that protein does, not just for muscle. And
Yes, it
greatly
builds
overeating
bones.
protein, right? Bone, amino acid, just enzymes, hormones. I mean, people don't realize that half of our hormones come from amino acids. Everyone's so focused on the thyroid and you have to have fat for thyroid. Well, guess what? Half of your hormones come from protein. So it's particularly thyroid hormone. So women, if you are hypo or hyperthyroid, look at your protein intake. Maybe you're not eating enough. Just a thought.
So
Because this
Susanna
is
made
something I
it
see
to
a lot
the
of.
live, and Teddy Harris made it to the live. Hi, Betsy made it to the live. Okay, so
Hey, all
piling it.
right.
Yeah, we had
People are
really
coming
trouble getting
in.
started. But okay, so now protein. Then you up your protein intake, and a lot of people will then say, okay, which shake? Which shake should I use? And then I say, oh
You know what I'm
no,
going to say to that.
no.
You already know what I'm going to say to that.
I
If it's
know
not
what you're gonna
real
say. I'm
food,
just like throwing it out there.
yeah. So again, the right tool for the right situation. I knock shakes often because I think people use them way more than they need to, and they should. But shakes can be a super important process or super important tool in someone's journey. I would rather have somebody chug 2 or 3 shakes a day if it's replacing baskets of French fries or milkshakes that they usually have, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
appropriate tools for the situation and the person and where they're at in the journey. Eventually, at some point in time, this is where shakes get, and this isn't just shakes. This is keto bread, keto crust, all these other recipes. If you're not eating anything that doesn't require a recipe, then you're missing the point. Most of the food that you eat every single day should have one ingredient.
I coincidentally made a post about that yesterday. Don't count calories, count ingredients.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, you're going to get me on the calorie thing.
No,
I'll
yeah.
go on. I'll be on here for 45 minutes just talking about calories. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the biggest benefit that you're going to get, because we're talking about metabolic function. So when we think about systems and we think about function, it's about how well can I make the engine work? And anything you do that is not natural for the human body is going to make the human body do more than it is designed to do to function at its best. It'll do it because we're very adaptable. We have one of the most survivable ecosystems in our bodies that exist in the entirety of the universe. Okay, or at least this planet. I don't know what about the rest of the universe, but at least
Yeah.
this planet. Okay, so our body is super adaptable, and just because our body can adapt to something doesn't mean that it is functioning optimally in that situation. And we think, well, I can eat all these things and I lost weight doing that. That's awesome. You ate shakes and you lost 100 pounds because eating shakes was healthier than what you were eating before. It was more optimal for your function than what you were eating before. You have now reached a point where your function and your fuel, your energy, your nutrition, the things that you need to eat to make your body work properly are now paired up and they're matched again. And that's why you've been keto for 5 years and you haven't lost any weight. Right? Because now you're matching, and we need to change and say, what can I do now to optimize my nutrition, optimize my body? Because again, it comes from both angles. Optimize the engine, tune up the engine, and change the fuel, change the oil, get the new lubrication, and do all the things. You got to do both. And
So it
then
is
boom,
about
you're off on your way
tweaking
again.
all the time.
All the time. All the time. Nothing that you do to get you where you are is going to get you where you want to go. You have to build on things.
I kind of like, one of the first things I heard in the keto world was keep the body guessing. So same with behavior and unpredictable rewards, how that drives addiction. If you keep the body guessing, if it doesn't know when the next meal is going to come, it will constantly be in a position to have to adapt. So if you have 2 met all the time, and then you skip a meal, the next day you have 3 meals, and then you do 1 meal, like that kind of thing. Is that what you mean?
No.
No. Okay.
I'm trying to think of doing the things that optimize how your body functions. What I mean by that is making sure that the food you are eating is as nutrient dense as possible, as bioavailable as possible, and as satiating as possible. And the way to do that is to focus on animal meats and not recipes. That's number one. Number two, keep it simple. Number two, make your body get better at functioning physically in the environment around you, i.e., get fit, build muscle, move your body, and activate. There's 3 major systems in our body. There's our central nervous system, our biological system, and our physiological system. Okay, so there's how our brain and our nerves and our all of our senses work. There's how our physical body works, and then there's how the chemistry of all of our body works. Those 3 things together are stimulated and improved mostly by how we exercise. We can change our biology mostly with nutrition, but central nervous system and physiology are improved in reality, in action, in movement, and how we engage in our environment through physical activity, right? So I can go ketogenic and improve my brain health, right? Get ketones to the brain. I can help fight dementia, et cetera, et cetera. But that's cleaning it up. That's not making it work better, right? Here's the analogy I like to use: is if I bring my car to the mechanic, and I say, "Hey, could you do me a favor? I need you to, figure out what's going on. It's not working. I don't understand what's going on. I can't figure out what's going on. Take a look at it. Let me know what you think." And he looks at it. He does his checking and everything. And he says, "Man, you've got a sports car here. You should be putting 90 octane gas in it, and you're putting diesel in it." And he takes all the diesel out and he puts 90 octane gas in my car. Did he fix my car? No, he didn't fix my car. Is my car going to work better? Absolutely. It's going to perform like it was meant to perform. But he didn't do anything to the car. He just changed what I was putting in it. And that's what nutrition is. When we look at fitness, now I'm not only changing what I put in the car, but I'm putting new tires on. I'm fixing the brakes. I'm changing the headlights. I got a new windshield. I got a paint job. I'm doing all these other things that physically improve how the car actually performs. And that's what we need to do. A lot of people are focusing on, okay, I changed the gas, everything should be fine. And they've got wheels that are falling off, their brakes don't work, their windshield wipers are broken, they got a broken backlight, and we were forgetting about all that other stuff.
There's this one thing I heard about fitness. So I'm in the process of getting my primal fitness certificate.
Awesome.
And there was this smoking, or it's been around long, like sitting is the new smoking. And
Yes.
and people would say, yeah, no. But actually, yes, it is. Because we as humans, as a species, are meant to move. We're not supposed to sit still all day. We're not supposed to be wedged behind a desk or behind a screen and not move. Body has certain enzymatic processes that activate when we move, and they do not activate when we do not move. And that means when these processes are not activated, they spell disease. So it's that easy.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it's when you wear a watch like an Apple Watch, you can can be reminded every hour to get up and move for 60 seconds. That's good. And the other thing that we talked about in the interview was about sitting for 5 hours every day. Then I looked it up again. It's in the book Good Energy by Dr. Casey Means. No, Well, the book is Good Energy, anyways, and she said that if you sit every day for 5 hours, you
Mm,
undo the benefits of a 90-minute workout. And I thought that was pretty impressive. It doesn't mean then there's no sense in doing exercise. Obviously not. It
yeah,
means that you should not sit for 5 hours straight.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, we are meant to move. I don't think something that I learned when I started getting into this that I had never heard of before. And I don't know if you're familiar with the lymphatic system and how it doesn't have its own pump, that our body's movement is the pump.
It is. It actually they found like little tiny there is it is moving a little, but for the most part it isn't. It's the muscle that moves it.
Yeah.
And when you move, then you move the lymphatic fluid.
Yeah. So if anybody's listening, what's that all about? Basically, your immune system, the main channel of how your body takes care of itself, cleans itself up, gets rid of waste, does all of the different things to keep you optimal. It's a circulatory system, much like the cardiovascular system. The difference is you have to move your body in order for it to work. It's not a closed system, it's an open system. So your circulatory system is a closed system. Your heart does the pumping, and all the pressure of the heart pumping is what makes everything go. In the lymphatic system, your lymph nodes and all the other different things where you're draining all the fluids and all these different things happening, all of that stuff happens when you move your body. So when you are sedentary, you are reducing your immune function by definition, because the primary thing that keeps that thing going is you moving your body. So that's just something to think about there. One of the benefits
Hugely
of
important.
exercise. Yeah. I want to jump back to real quick too. There's a couple things about having muscle and insulin resistance, because that's how we started. Um, and that is we talk about muscle storage. So yes, absolutely. If you have more muscle storage, glycogen storage, if you have more muscle, you can store more glycogen. Fantastic. That's awesome. It's not going to be that much more. It's not the one thing that makes the difference in whether you can cure insulin resistance or not. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm going to exercise to get a bunch of muscle and then my IR is going to go away, because that's not how it's going to work. It is a part of the puzzle, and it is something that is needed for more than just insulin resistance. The reasons you need to build muscle have to do with all of the factors that go with metabolic function and improving your quality of life. It's not just about IR. That benefits you get from having more muscle in IR is just one little piece. Now, that being said, there's a couple things that have to do with exercise specifically that comes along with building the muscle. So when we exercise, we do resistance training, we get more lean mass, we build muscle. Yes, we have more glycogen storage. Benefit number one. We also increase, depending on the work we're doing. If we're doing a combination of strength training and cardio and high intensity work and mobility, and we're doing a bunch of different things, we're trying to work in a bunch of different areas to improve our overall health, we're going to increase mitochondrial density. So we increase how much mitochondria we actually have in our muscles, in our body.
And
So
just to
the
go
more
one step back,
mitochondria we have,
the
say again?
mitochondria is
Yep,
the little tiny bits in the cells that create the energy from the food that we eat. So a
correct.
lot of people get triggered, like Paola said. She talked to someone on that triggered her about calories. We don't eat
Yeah.
calories. We don't burn calories. No. Food stores chemical energy. That chemical energy is then by the mitochondria taken apart and turned into ATP, and that's what the body uses for energy.
Yes.
Okay.
So we were taking whatever we're eating as available and as prioritized. That's a whole nother conversation. Talk about oxidative priority.
It's not the
Because
carbs that are
protein
prioritized.
is not at the top of the list.
Yeah.
And we turn that into ATP, and that's how our body actually moves, right? The muscles use ATP. That's how they contract and move. When we do that, when we have more mitochondria, not only does it improve how our muscles perform, but it can increase how much energy we need to turn into ATP just by existing in our space. So this is one of the cool things that I love about exercise. And this is, I've had some people tell me it's hard to understand this. Cardio is counterproductive as a means for improving metabolic health.
I get that actually.
What?
Yeah, I know it is kind of a what? But
Yeah.
I heard that if you want to improve metabolic health, then you want to do resistance training, you want to do
First.
sprints, you want to be stretchy and mobile too, but that's not so
Yes.
much with the
Yes.
metabolic.
Now, and I'm not saying that you don't want to do cardio, because that is an aspect, right? Being able to do long, slow physical activity is an aspect of health and fitness, but it should not be the focus. It is an additional aspect built on top of resistance training, building lean mass, and getting a good metabolic foundation. Cardio is not a good metabolic foundation. Okay. And there's a lot of people that their heads are going to blow up. And I know some people that are specifically endurance coaches and athletes, and people that are very focused on cardiorespiratory fitness. And they're like, what are you talking about? Cardio is everything. I'm sorry, guys. I understand where they're coming from. And I understand that cardio is important. I'm not saying cardio is not important. What I am saying, though, is cardio, when you're doing it, particularly for those people who are thinking in their head, I have to do cardio to lose fat. What
Yes.
you're doing is you are simulating an active, healthy metabolism while you're working, and then you're turning the simulation off the minute you stop, because you're not doing anything that maintains metabolic function after the workout is over. That is the super cool thing about weight training and resistance training. The more muscle you build, the more mitochondrial density you have, the more mitochondrial function and efficiency you have, the more energy your body is going to require, even when you're not working out. That's
And
why
that's the
muscle is
beauty
so
about
powerful.
Yeah, that's the beauty about resistance training. You do actually need 2 or 3 rest days, or 1 or 2 rest days in between sessions for the muscle to repair. And it's most people just say, well, there's a training, and then actually while you rest, that's when the actual training happens or the muscle building happens.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Building doesn't come during the work. You have to rest. And that's why a good program, right? Most people have different ways that they build their programs. I've got everything from a 2-day a week to a 6-day a week program, where you alternate what you're doing. So you can work out every day, but you're not working the same muscles every day. There's a lot of different ways that we can combine those things. But yeah, usually anywhere from 2 to 3 days on average is a good rest period, depending on how hard somebody's working, what their experience level is, et cetera. Yeah. So there's just a couple things to understand about resistance training. It is the first choice for me, particularly for many people, because it doesn't mean weights. For some people, resistance training is their body weight getting out of a chair.
Yep.
If you do that, that is more resistance than you're used to exerting, and you do that till that becomes easy, and then you find something that's more challenging. So resistance training does not mean go to the gym and you have to lift heavy weights. It can be just you moving your body around your house. Right.
So here's a comment from Paola. Cardio is
Yeah.
especially bad for folks with lots of inflammation, Hashimoto's or Graves, or fibromyalgia. We've got limited exercise tolerance, so it should be focused on muscle building and weight
And
bearing.
weight bearing. Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Completely agree.
Fibromyalgia is a big one. I work with a lot of women who have fibromyalgia or chronic inflammation, because they're chronically stressed and they haven't figured out how to chill out, eat more food, and take rest days. Right. A lot of us do it to ourselves because we think we got to do all this stuff, when really, honestly, if you took a couple more rest days and you ate more food, you'd probably be better off than where you are right now.
I do think that I kind of triggered my inflammatory arthritis to come back by over-exercising. I did feel
Mm.
so good. I was off medication, and I was just doing fantastic. I went back to Taekwondo, which has always been my love, Taekwondo. And I did 2 trainings per week, 90 minutes with a heart rate probably at like 160, 180 for
Okay.
90 minutes straight. And then I stopped because there was the summer break, and then my inflammation came back, and I have not been able to do that exercise since.
Hmm.
I can do a little
You do it
resistance
for
training.
less, maybe just twice for 30 minutes and see how 30 minutes does?
No, it's the inflammation came back. So
Hmm.
it's the difference between being able to walk and not. It's not so much
Wow. Okay.
how much can you exercise, but can you actually walk? Okay, so I
Yeah.
can walk, but I cannot run. There's just too much fluid in the joints. I can't even
Mhm.
do a full squat unless I'm on a like after a few days of cortisone. Then I can
Yeah.
do a full squat because then the fluid is gone from the joints. But so I kind of like messed it up for myself. Yeah, I know,
Gotta
I
go
know.
slower.
Ah, so I'm hoping I'm gonna get there again, and then
Yes,
not overdoing it.
not
But
overdo it.
the thing
Yep.
is that exercise too is a stress on the body.
Sure.
But we need that stress. It's part of life. It's not like stress. Okay, so there's this other thing that I just read. When we scroll through Facebook,
Mhm.
um, humans are on constant alert for danger because that's how we survive. If we go through the forest and spot a tiger, we know what to do. And scrolling through Facebook is a constant stress because it constantly puts us on alert for things to watch out for.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and this is why it's so addictive too, because we need to look for that danger. In nature, it serves us well, but not so much on Facebook. But
Mhm.
actually, this is like a completely different topic.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that's interesting. I have to think about that one. Hmm. Looking for the danger. I there is nothing
You have these
you're
alerts that
familiar with
pop up.
entropy, right? And the
Um,
idea that
ye
anything that is not progressing is moving backwards.
yes.
And that's the human condition. That is what we are all about. If we are not actively doing something to improve our current position, we are automatically going backwards. That has to do with our health. That has to do with a lot of different aspects of the human condition, but primarily, especially with health. Nobody's getting any younger. And the more you do now to combat the deterioration of your body, the better you're going to be for longer. So there is no concept of I've gotten to a point and I'm good. You're never good. You may be good for today, but
I
the
reached
minute
my
you stop
fitness
doing
goal.
something, you start going
Yeah,
backwards.
I
Say again?
reached my fitness goal. There's no such thing as I
There's no
reached
such thing.
goal.
Yeah, exactly. I talk about this in my book that just came out, and it's really something that I've been stuck on for a couple of months, and that is the idea that you're on the journey forever. There is no end to the journey. There is only the only measurement that matters is how long you're engaged in the journey.
And that's
That's what
also
matters.
not supposed to be a scary thing. Like when
No,
people
not at all.
are on a sad diet and they think, oh, now I have to go on a diet for life and I can never do that.
You've already been on one, so what's the difference?
Yeah, right. So there's nothing scary about it. It's you
Mm.
just keep chipping away. You
Yeah.
keep improving. So
Yeah, that's
anyone
the
who watches now, I have a video, and we talk about that book in more detail on my channel. Check it
yeah.
out.
Yeah. Go get
Plugging
it.
the
Go get it.
video. Yes.
And that's a really good point. Like, people come in, well, do I have to do this? Do I have to do that? I'm like, you don't have to do anything. It's your journey. It's not my journey. I'm just trying to give you the information on that so that you can decide how much of this journey do you want of this in journey? How much of this journey do you want to enjoy?
Exactly.
That's what this is about. You can enjoy it or you can suffer through it to your heart's content. It doesn't matter to me. I would hope that you would want to enjoy it. And here's the things that you can do to enjoy it. But guess what? Whether you decide to enjoy it or not, you still have to eat something every day. You still have to get some sleep sometime. You're going to either go to the gym or go to the doctor. So you're going to do these things. The question is, do you want to do them to your benefit or not?
Choose your heart.
Once you realize, hey, none of this is changing anything. It's not changing the realities of my life. These things are going to happen. How much of it do I want to control, or how much do I want it to control me? Once you realize that, everything kind of falls into place. And it's like, what am I doing? Why am I doing these things? What are these excuses I'm making up in my head?
But the fun thing is, once you start this, at least that's how it was for me. I started being in control. So
Mm-hmm.
from the fridge calling my name, hey, all the stuff in there, eat me, and then oh yeah, sure. Now I
Sure,
can
let's do
like
it.
just walk by and say no. Or have you like I'm not doing that. I am in
Yep.
control now. That is actually quite an exhilarating feeling to be in control.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It's fun. It's a fun way to live, being in control.
Yeah.
Control is what it's all about. And once you realize that, once you realize if you're in control or not, what's controlling you, and you take control back, that's a whole process, and that's an amazing feeling. But really the freedom starts when you realize you have the power to take control. When you
Yeah.
start realizing that, hey, wait a second, these are things that I can change. And I want everybody listening to realize that anything that you feel like you're stuck, you can change it. 100%. It is your option, your possibility, your power to change it. And you just have to decide how much you want to do it and how much you're willing to put in to make it happen.
Yes, you can.
Absolutely. If I can do it, anybody can do it. I'll tell you that. Because I'm
It's
slow.
something, honestly, like when you are plus 300 pounds, like I was, and then there are these skinny people and saying, "Oh no, you just have to do it this way. I can do it. You can do that too." So then I thought, like, oh yeah, no, I can't, because I know how addictive sugar is. I know I'm going to be hungry. I know hunger always wins, and I know how I did the past 30 years
Mhm.
being successful for a few months, losing so and so much weight, and then falling off the wagon and trying again and falling off again. So no, I couldn't do it. But that was because I didn't have the right tools. When you
Mhm.
have the right tools, then you can, absolutely. And
Yeah.
if you cannot do it alone, then get help.
Yeah.
Have someone
Yeah.
help you. Go into a group, like a Facebook group, my Facebook group, your Facebook
Mhm.
group. Go into the Dr. Berry community. Watch Dr. Berry, like binge watch all those videos.
And then
Get
when you're done with his, watch Roxana's and watch mine.
Yeah, that too. Um, and do that. Read books like Chris Palmer, Brain and Energy. Then
Mhm.
Good Energy, Dr. Means, or I forgot the name, the
Yeah.
one that I was quoting
Look
before.
it up.
Like there are so many good books out there. Gary Taubes, Nina Teicholz, Michelle
Mhm.
Hearn. Actually, all the books that I have on my website, like read all those, and you don't have to read them; you can listen to them. That's reading too. Get the information, get a coach, get a group, get a tribe. We are tribe people.
Mhm.
We thrive in tribes. We actually learn by mirroring others' behaviors. So get together with people who do the things that you want to do, and then it'll be easier to go on the same track.
Right. For sure. Yeah, absolutely. Uh, Community support is huge. Finding somebody that you trust to help you with, understand what to try and what to do for your specific situation, is always good. Just remember that just because somebody has a credential behind their name doesn't mean they have any idea what you need for your life. Only you can figure that out. So take the
Yeah,
information,
like
learn how to.
metabolic health practitioner, like
Yeah, we got to add that to mine now. I got mine. Um,
yes,
yeah,
congratulations on that.
thank you very much. It was one of those things that was like, do I want to do this? Do I really? I don't know. I got so many other things going on, and it's like I kind of have to. I feel like um, there's things that I want to do in more the scientific side of things that I think this will help build that relationship. I'd like to have more of a relationship with SMHP and do some things there. So that's a whole nother conversation. Um, so yeah, so there's community is great. Finding people that can help you understand works for you. But
Paola says
ultimately, again,
congratulations too.
oh, thank you, Paola. But ultimately, it's your choice, it's your decision. There is no wrong decision. There is only, is it working or is it not? And I think I'll end on that.
I think we can. I just want to bring up one more comment. So I have
Okay, cool.
to watch over here. I think this is the right one.
Yep, I agree with that. It is very opposite of that. Everybody has control.
Awesome.
There's
All
always
right.
something you can do. There's always something you can do that's going to help you improve some aspect of your life. That's another reason. The small side check. See, you're going to get me going. That's another reason why fitness is important, because when we just look at nutrition, we only have one thing to look at as our options of things we can do. When we
Yeah,
start
there's so
looking at
much you can
fitness,
do.
yeah, when we start looking at fitness, then we can say, oh, well, I can do this with nutrition, but maybe that's not working for me. At some point in time, guys, what you're doing nutrition wise is going to stop working, particularly if you're not backing it up by doing something on the fitness side of things. So then if all I had to look at is my nutrition and that's all I'm looking at, then I got to try this. I got to try that. This isn't working. And then I'm getting frustrated because nothing's working. I'm only looking at one thing. If I look at fitness, now I can say, okay, well, now I've got building muscle. I've got increasing my energy here. I've got doing this. I've got working on flexibility. I've got mobility. I've got speed. I've got agility. I can work on my balance and my coordination. There's so many different aspects. Just looking at fitness opens up 30, 40 different additional things you can look at besides just what am I putting in my face every day.
And then
It's such
there's
a,
fitness.
say again.
There's fitness, there's sleep, there is relationships,
Oh, there's a
there's
whole bunch
so
of other
many
things.
things you can
Absolutely.
do.
Yeah, for sure. And that's just an example. It's not just fitness, but when you're just looking at nutrition as the only solution, you're really putting yourself in a box. There's a whole lot more to it. For sure.
Yep. All right. Okay, so let's do this again. Next time,
Sure.
we'll be better prepared and,
We'll
we'll kind of figure
we'll
it out.
practice and do it for real or something. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. I want to end the live.
You guys, thanks for joining
See you
everybody.
guys.